Meeting underway. It is the first one we've been able to be together with in a statewide OVRC meeting format for 4 years. Want to welcome everybody. We're glad each and every one of you are here. We're going to begin this one like we do every OVRC meeting, and we're going to start with roll call. My name is Frank Pergassa, the current committee chair and Cincinnati representative. Honored and privileged to serve in both of those roles. And I will start to my left up here with our secretary.
Christopher Saban, OVRC secretary. Do I need the mic?
You can try it.
Christopher Saban, OVRC secretary.
Christy Howell, BE program manager.
Greg Dormer, Deputy Director, BSBS.
Maria Seaman, OOD Chief Fiscal Officer.
Chief Trammell, Dayton, Ohio. Dave Paget.
Lisa Paget with Dave.
Jill Noble, guest.
Oh, Roger Hall, Columbus. Dan Hall, Facility 496. Joe Hall, Athens County.
Derek Newfarth, Representative, Zanesville.
Karen Lee Master.
Kurt Lee Master, Columbus.
Kathy Bianca-Giorgio.
John Decker, Georgia, Columbus Rep.
Scott Allen, Columbus.
Dave Marshall.
Jeannie Snyder, Toledo.
Dwayne Burkholder, Toledo alternate.
Patricia Slaker, Columbus.
Laura Cole, Dayton. Melissa Straight, Summit County. Sheila Howard, Trinity.
Mark Wood, Columbus alternate.
Julie O'Brien.
Aaron Hopkins, Akron, Can.
Mark Messick, Youngstown.
Don Evans, Youngstown.
Dave Bergasa, Cincinnati alternate.
Seth Roy, Cincinnati.
Nan Ryan, Cincinnati.
My name is Misty Hatcher, and I'm a trainee.
Annette Lutz, Toledo representative, OVRC vice chair.
Jim Lutz, Dayton alternate. Yes.
Ken Shipman, Columbus, Ohio.
John Kennedy, Zanesville.
Jeff Toll, Columbus.
Mike Russell, Wayne County.
Julie Russell, Columbus. Becky Chester, Columbus.
Debbie Garrett, Columbus.
Joshua French, Nelsonville.
Deborah French.
Linda Johnson.
Connie Standing Clear, Toledo.
Jack Turtle.
Lisa Litzinger. Yvette Shackelford, Dayton, Zanesville alternate. Zanesville alternate.
Chris Johnson, Trumbull County Rest Area. I'm living in Columbus.
Brenda Gannon.
Leonard Johnson. Dave,
Tessie Preston.
Mike Osborne, Cincinnati.
Sue Cunningham.
Dave Cunningham, Cambridge, Marietta area.
John McNamara, Akron, alternate. David Char, licensee, Dayton.
Larry Damplis, Akron Rep.
Nicole Ryrick, Toledo.
Jose Galindo, Cleveland.
Hi, Valerie McAllister from Akron, Ohio.
Isaac, I live in Cleveland, but I've got Akron.
Curtis Joyner, Toledo.
Suado, Dexwood.
Dar Ahmed, Columbus.
Did I get everyone? Is there anyone that I did not get? Okay, we're good.
All right. Welcome to each and every one of you. I'm glad to see we have a really good turnout for statewide. That's awesome. We do have one thing on the agenda that is, we want to take time out to honor those we've lost since 2019, because we weren't able to do it in 2020, 21, or 22. So I have a list here, and we're going to go through that. Going to go through the list. And I'm just going to read the name and date that they passed away, and then I'll tell you how we're going to, what we're going to do to honor all of those. So let me get started with the list. First one on the list is Don Hammer, July 28th of 2019. The next one is Chris Toll, October the 11th of 2019. Brian White, February 8th of 2020. Kevin Wilford, June 30th of 2020. Charles Link, August 31st of 2021. Jack Davis, November the 11th of 2022. Dennis Staley, December 17th of 2022. And Richard Bird, December 26th of 2022. Today, I ask that we all join together to honor their memory, lives, careers, legacies, and contributions to the Ohio Business Enterprise Program by observing 1 minute in silence, starting now. All right, thank you, everybody. It was important to honor all of those. They're no longer with us, and they will be missed, but not forgotten. And we wanted to make sure we honored all of them. Thank you. Just to let the committee know, I did have on the agenda to approve the April minutes. Talked to Christy a few minutes ago, and they had a few changes from the April meeting, or a few edits. And unfortunately, she didn't bring them with her this morning, so she was asking if we could wait till the May 19th meeting to take care of that. But I wanted to put that out to the full committee. Is that okay with all the committee members?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me.
We can wait while she runs home.
You can wait while it's
Okay. That being the case, the next item on the agenda is public comment. Do we have anyone who has public comment this morning? All right. Public comment going once.
I got one.
Okay.
Okay, wait, let me get to the microphone.
And when you speak, just please state your name so that our secretary can.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Larry Damplis. Hope you guys enjoyed the show yesterday. Shameless plug, I've got a show scheduled June 8th at the Nest Theater at 7:30 p.m.
Awesome.
My name is Julie Russell, oldie but goodie, I hope. There's a lot of us going to be out of work, a lot of calls going back and forth about stipends. You have anything on that? I'll just read my whole list. We have 33 rest areas all told. I know that's going to affect the program a lot, but it would be nice if we knew yes or no so that we could keep or not keep our storage areas. Also, we were told that we will lose seniority for the year that we're involuntarily down, and I want to know if that's true. And the gateway and the telephony system I was at the original meeting with the suits that came in from Gateway. It was me, Cindy Larkin, Steve Moore, Lisa Kemp, and they said that they would mirror each other. It would be a little later in coming, but that it would, when it did come, it would exactly mirror each other, and I wanted to make sure everybody knew that I was there.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, Annette, can I'm going to address, and, well, go ahead, Annette, I'm going to let you do it first, and then I will.
Just to address a couple of things, no, absolutely, you will not lose seniority. You are still an assigned operator,
That's right.
whether your space is open or not. Number two, as far as the stipend goes, the committee takes that up in September. Usually it's the meeting before, by rule, this isn't just our choice, this is by rule, we have to discuss stipends and many other things at the meeting, usually September, it's the meeting before October 1st. So that stipend, we'll look at the budget and understanding that a lot of folks are gonna be out, and we will definitely take that up then.
And everything she said is correct. You are, even though your rest area is closed down, you are still under your bureau operator agreement. And I know there's been some confusion, and I ran into it the last time my rest area, when I was on 71, was shut down. Some of the staff thought that since I was shut down, I didn't get the benefit check or wasn't eligible for stipend, and it had to be cleared up. But it did get cleared up, and I think everybody on staff understands now. And as Annette said, just to reiterate, and I've told people this when I've talked to them individually, when it comes to stipend, but it's not just stipend, there's a whole list, and I can't rattle them off top of my head, but there's a whole list of financial things the committee goes through in September, a lot of decisions that have to be made. And stipend is subject to availability of funds. So, and the amount, the committee tries to review it and do the best we can with it. It could go up one year, and depending on the budget, could go down the next year. Or, you know, if we have the money, it could trend upward. So, but and I want to make one other point about stipend. It is universal. Whatever the amount is that's set, that's the amount all operators receive.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just one other point, even when your place is closed down, you still are required to fill out an MOR, submit an MOR, even if it's all zeros. So, just so everybody knows that when they are closed, they have to do that.
That one's different. I didn't have to do that before, but okay. All right. Anyone else with public comment?
I was told, our consultant Sarah Guderoff told me that they would have to close me out. So wouldn't that mean that there wouldn't be an MOR and the seniority for that period of time? If I'm closed out, is that like being for lack of a better way to put it, not being an operator, but you don't lose your facility, so. They have to close it out.
Okay. Just for my clarification, who was that spoke?
Lisa Litzinger.
Lisa Litzinger. Okay, good. Thank you.
I think we're gonna go back and work with the committee, get clear guidance out to everyone to clear up any questions at all, we will clear up. And so I think that, and we can get that out, I think, Annette and Frank, we can work on that in June, because I know that there is a lot of anxiety about the closing of rest areas for remodeling. And so we can work on that.
And we will. And we also are trying to do it here today, and we also need to make sure that information gets out to everybody, and we want factual information, not rumor information. We want it, everything that is fact is out there. And I know, we had some operators very concerned that some operators were gonna get one amount of stipend and other ones were gonna get another amount. I'm like, that doesn't work like that. And I don't think it ever did, but anyway, that's why I said what I said earlier. The stipend is universal across the board. Everybody gets the same amount. And it's looked at every year by the committee, just like a lot of the other financial obligations the committee has to look at in September.
Frank, I got two more here. Wait one second. Here's
Okay.
Connie.
Connie, standing clear. Just to comment, I was on that last OVRC meeting on the phone. I could not hear about half the meeting, and I know you're gonna work on that. But please consider it for those of us who do not always have transportation and would love to at least know what's going on and not hear just rumors, but know the real truth. So thank you.
Mike Russell, what's the stipend amount for this year?
I believe it's $250 per week.
I think Yvette Shackelford, I know that, I talked to another operator about this, or mentioned it to a few, but I just thought that having a suggestion that if there is some temporary locations available, if an operators can have a option that whose rest area is shutting down, to either take the stipend or work. Would that be a suggestion? I know that might cause some issues with some people, but I just thought it would be a good idea if it's available.
Well, we'll do what we can, but we have to work within the rules. And, if it's not in the rule, but there are things that come available that are temporary that I think the agency does have, and the committee does have some leeway with, but it has to be work within parameters of the rules. And, we can certainly work to try and hopefully find stuff for people to temp. I don't know that we're gonna be able to find stuff for everybody though, and everybody may not want to temp stuff, but a lot of people want to work and need to work. So we'll see what we can do, and that's something that should be probably an ongoing conversation and see where it goes. Anyone else? All right. Thank all of you for public comment. The next item on the agenda is OVRC election results. I can tell you that in Dayton, I believe, in Dayton, Yvette Shackelford, beginning July 1st, will be the Dayton alternate, joining Keith Trammell as the representative. And then we counted the ballots for Columbus yesterday, and it was a really tight election. Mark Wood will be the representative for Columbus beginning July 1st, and John D. will be the alternate. John D. Giorgio, I should have said his full name, sorry. And we do have an election in Zanesville. And that one got delayed a little bit. We wouldn't have had the results by today anyway, but we had a little, there was a technical glitch the week before on the Teams meeting, and Annette and I both asked that it be redone because people were having a lot of trouble getting dialed in, and we didn't know if somebody was trying to call in, and the only solution was to just redo the nomination call, and it was redone this past Tuesday. So we have two gentlemen running in Zanesville, Derek Newfarth and Seth Ryan. So best of luck to both of them. And that's everything I have on on OVRC elections at this time.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
can you tell us when the ballots are going out for the Zanesville election?
That's something Christie's gonna have to answer, because I don't know when. I know what the, what is the rule, within 15 days or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, but I can find out. That's area manager. But yeah, it's within the rules, and we will be getting that out. And remember, it's going to be mailed and electronic.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the Ohio Business Enterprise Program Annual Update, and that's going to be provided by Program Manager Christy Howard.
Good morning. And before I start, after I'm done speaking and Maria Sing's up here, I'm going to be coming around and collecting your badges, which will also tell me exactly who's here because I didn't get everyone on my little sheet. But anyway, typically, I know, that's all right, and it's great, not listening to me. So, again, I'm very excited that we're finally in person. I think we've had a very, very successful statewide. Great seeing everyone. You know, the committee, and it was more than just Cynthia, there was a work group that really worked hard on planning this. And, you know, they're gonna get started after this is over, planning next year. You know, your suggestions on what you would like to have as speakers, training, what worked, what didn't work, you know, this hotel, like, we need that feedback because this is your guys' training and it's really important. And I'm really excited. You know, we are missing quite a few operators that I'm used to seeing and I'm missing. So hopefully, again, we're getting better and better, and really, I can't believe it's been since 2019, and I think everyone in here appreciates seeing everyone yesterday and hanging out and learning in the trade show last night, so I think this is a sign that things are getting back to normal. Typically, for this, for my speech, I run down the numbers of the RSA 15. And again, I throw out a bunch of numbers that I don't think that they necessarily make sense. And I've decided that part of our speech this morning, I'm gonna have Maria Seaman talk about the budget. So I don't want to throw out too many numbers. And I've got a couple program highlights that I do want to talk about, but it's gonna be relatively short. Overall program is trending in a positive direction. Sales and set-aside have increased from previous year. We went from an average of 47,000 in set-aside a month in FY22 to an average of 51,000 so far this federal fiscal year. The available cash balance to be matched is about $709,000. You know, at the peak of the pandemic, we were down to about 325,000. So we are not spending as much as we're bringing in, which is a good sign. Operations, currently we have 71 operators operating. Currently 91 facilities, but 18 are being temporarily operated to establish sales, determine whether or not that there are sites or if they should be posted as facilities. Despite the pandemic, BE was able to expand their presence at Kent State University, Cleveland State University, and Ohio State University. These facilities, just these three, have created 4 lucrative jobs and have in FY23 so far generated $573,000 in sales and $26,000, almost $27,000 in set aside. So again, colleges and universities that's where we need to grow, and we are growing. The program has also obtained the POP at the University of Akron, and we're going in and taking the rest of Ohio University this summer. 47 operators are operating their business above the program average. So the program net proceeds last year based on the RSA 15 was 29%, now it's 30%. So we have 47 operators operating above that. But we have 7 operators operating below 10%, 3 of which are negative. And so 40 operators are operating between 11 and 29. And I mentioned this, particularly the ones operating below 10, is that I think collectively we all need to work together on how we can help operators get their net and their profits up. The other thing that I want to focus on, and we've got a lot going on, and Maria's going to be talking about it, but the other thing that I really want to make a focus going into this year, and I need help from this body, is training. And you know, I think Cynthia touched on it yesterday with the pandemic. It was like we just didn't know, but now we're coming out of the pandemic, and I think we have some targeted recruitment that we need to do, particularly in the Dayton area and in the Columbus area. You know, when I talk to counselors, their first thing is, what's open now? And it's hard to tell them what's open. Like, we have temp jobs, and you know, it's someone puts in for a job, and then you have the domino effect. But we do need to bring some new people and new operators and have them start off in a positive direction. With the new rules in place and RSA's mandate, we had to lower the requirement age from 21 down to 18. So we need to have more of a relationship with the Ohio State School for the Blind. And Laura Cole, I'm looking at you for help on that. And when I say that we need to work with them, like my vision is that even the 7th, 8th graders, we start introducing them to the business enterprise program. And then when they get into junior, senior, and then they even have after graduation programs, and thinking about mentoring and mentorships. So I think that that's where we really need to look at building up our base. So that's going to be a focus. And really, that was my whole speech. I don't know, before we get into the budget, is there any specific questions anyone has for me on what I reported out? Great. So, Maria, I don't know if you want to. So I asked Maria Seaman to come on her Saturday and talk about the budget. She's our Chief Fiscal Officer, and I was very thrilled when she said, yeah, sure, I'll come.
All right. Well, thank you, Christy, and thank you, everyone, for allowing me to be here today. I'm really excited to talk about our agency's budget. We are in the throes of the budget deliberations going on just across the street here in the State House. So the budget has moved into the Senate, and we'll hopefully OOD will maintain our position in the budget as it was introduced by the governor. So Governor DeWine and Lieutenant Governor Husted put forth a budget for OOD that makes a historic investment in individuals with disabilities that will be truly transformational. I have accompanied Director Miller down to the State House for his testimony, and we have really excellent support from the membership of the legislature with regard to what we do as an agency and the individuals that we serve. So it's going to be really exciting, and you know, there's a lot of activity going on right now at OOD as we plan for the next biennium. And so this budget will provide an opportunity for us over the next few years to make an investment in the business enterprise program that will help us to create long-term stability and sustainability to ensure the availability of funds to support the program and take advantage of expansion opportunities as they arise. So what those investments will involve is that over the next 2 years, if the budget passes in its current form, OOD Director Kevin Miller has approved the investment of $4 to $6 million in OOD resources to modernize and or replace our existing vending machines. So that's a really exciting thing for us to be able to do. And so replacement of those existing machines will be decided based on factors such as age of the machine, the
No, in case there's questions start coming up, I have.
The availability of parts for repair. I know that, we've talked with Christy about, out at Schaefer, we're maintaining this bank of old machines that are just being used for parts and things like that. And making sure that our machines are modern and accessible so that they can compete for the business that's out there of people that want to purchase from you. So we know that's really important. And so the decision on replacement of the machines will be considered as a whole for the program, but that'll be based on information gathered through individual conversations that you'll be having with your assigned BE consultant. So with regard to that investment, we like to talk about the return on investment. And so what this will, what the return on investment that we're expecting is that there'll be less downtime of machines, which we know results in a loss of revenue for your businesses. So having updated, modernized, newer machines will hopefully reduce any downtime that your businesses experience for repairs. So we would expect to see a decrease then in program expenses that need to be expended related to maintenance and repair of equipment. You get a new car and you have less repairs, right, for many years.
Obviously.
So we would also then expect an increase in service charge, which means an increase in stability and sustainability of the program long term to be able to support those future expansion opportunities. It's paramount that we operate this program in compliance with federal regulations. And so RSA has provided some compliance guidance recently, and there's definitely some areas of improvement that we can make around aligning the expenditure of funds for various aspects of the program. So for example, it was clarified for us recently that initial stock and supplies cannot be purchased with set-aside funds. However, we might be able to leverage our VR program to acquire these items by opening a VR case for a new operator to be able to get those items, or for an existing operator who is advancing their employment by taking on an additional site. So, I know that Christy, we were having conversations with our vocational rehabilitation program. We want it to be an expedited sort of, eligibility. We don't want the VR program to slow down the ability for you to be able to take advantage of an expansion of employment by taking on a new site. And so we're trying to work through what that would look like. And so Director Miller wants to ensure that funds are available to support this program in a way that's going to ensure compliance with federal regulations. So we've identified some funds that, where set aside is not an allowable use, where we can use some OOD resources to support those to make sure that this program is fully compliant with federal regulations. So that's something we've been working on. We understand the immediate and significant impact that the pandemic had on many of you and on the program as a whole. And if you recall, Director Miller provided relief for the program by having OOD take on the responsibility of BE staff salary for nearly a year. So this took the pressure off of the BE funds as the program began its slow recovery from the pandemic. And I'm happy to report, and Christy touched on it, that the monthly BE revenues are within a few $100s of pre-pandemic levels. When we look at, October through March of 2020, just before the pandemic hit, compared to October to March of this year, we're within a few $1,000s of being right where we were. And so that's really good news for this program. So to further support this program to regain its stability and sustainability from a funding standpoint, we're looking to other areas where we could increase the availability of service charge for program expansion. So, Director Miller has agreed for the next 2 years at least for OOD to assume the cost of BE management payroll. So, BE program funds will continue to support the payroll for the BE consultants as those staff work directly with all of you to support the success of your businesses. So the management aspect of it, the supervisory, payroll, so Christy and the area managers, those costs for their payroll will shift to OOD resources for the next 2 years. So that's really all I have to share. Again, we're really excited about the budget. This is a transformational time for OOD. It's been a long time coming that we've built to this point since Director Miller came to OOD 12 years ago. And so, BE is a part of our agency, and we want to see this program be really successful. Christy and I spend an inordinate amount of time together talking about money and numbers and thinking of ways that we can, get this program back to where it was before the pandemic, and I think we're well on its way. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I do not need a microphone.
You were born with an outside voice?
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'm just curious, you talked about this $4 million. Is that, so we all understand, is that simply kind of what we call the seed money to draw down federal funds? So does that $4 million actually represent $20 million if you put federal dollars with it, or are you being inclusive of that's a combination of GRF funds from the state and federal match dollars?
So it's the match plus the federal. So it'll be a total investment of $4 to $6 million.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Additional questions?
Yeah, regarding
Who is that?
staff payroll.
Who is that?
Yeah, I don't need it.
Derek, okay, thank you.
Regarding the staff payroll, you mentioned that this will be just for the management services, not the consultants.
Correct.
Correct, okay, yeah. And that will include administrative staff as well, so we're just talking about management.
So, it's the consultants and the APs will be on your guys' budget, but management will be myself, hopefully 2 area managers in the future, because I need another area manager. But again, that'll be on OOD, Cynthia, and the reporting manager. So it's about $150,000 that's not coming out of set aside.
It's awesome.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
All good news. Really, truly, thank you very much. This is wonderful news. This will be so helpful for us to do the things that we've been wishing to do for so long and make it so much easier and make what we're able to do so much better. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, and I'm a little superstitious. It hasn't all passed yet, so I'm gonna knock on wood. Things are looking good, but I don't want to count our eggs before they're hatched, so, but yes.
And I appreciate Christy giving me the chance to share the good news, so. And whoever does end up getting the sites at OU, I'm sure my son will be a great patron of those machines as he will be attending their. All right. Well, thank you again.
All right, who's next? One quick thing. So I know there's probably a meeting in May, I don't know yet, and then June, but I know there's been some discussion and questions around the phone system and some difficulties and maybe some requested upgrades and ideas. And I would just ask if you guys do have some issues that you've had, if you have some ideas that you want us to look into for improvements, if you could send those over to Christy and Sally. We'll gather the ideas, we'll take a look at what we can and can't do and cost some of those things out that we can, and bring it back to the group to talk about. But I had a large number of you here, so I wanted to throw that out there. So I don't know how many of you still use the phone system versus the computer to file monthly, but over the next few weeks, if you're thinking about it, if you have some ideas, some thoughts, send those in to us so we can kind of gather them up and take a look at what we might want to try and what we can and can't do. So, all right, I stole some of Frank's time, so I will turn it back over to him.
right. As Derek and some others expressed, that is really good news. And I think one of the work groups that I lead, the program growth work group, is about to get really, really busy. That's awesome. So, be looking at that and working on, and one of the things that is talked about on the national calls that Annette and I are on are talking about, Randolph Shepherd can no longer just look at state and federal buildings. We need to also look at private sector stuff. And we also need to look at a way that some of the private sector stuff that's out there, we don't necessarily know how to approach, but maybe we can find a company that could assist us with that. That's something for the full committee to talk about at some point, and see what we can do with that. And I'll just give two quick examples, and I don't know that these will ever come to fruition. It would be nice if they did. I know I've seen in the news a lot of stuff about the Intel plant in Columbus or in the Columbus area, and something about a Honda plant in Jeffersonville or around that area exactly. I don't know if that's exactly where they're going to build it, but those are two big, private sector things that if the program could get in there, they would probably create really good jobs, maybe even a couple of jobs. I don't know that. We don't know what building populations are going to be, but just things to look at and evaluate and see where we can go with it. We should never turn away an idea and without researching it and doing our due diligence and making sure it's something we can do and provide jobs. The more jobs we can create for individuals who are blind or visually impaired, whatever term you want to use, is a success. So, and I heard something yesterday about, they talked about how nationally the Randolph Shepherd program, the numbers keep going down. And it was alluded to a little while ago, I think as the Ohio Business Enterprise Program, we need to really, really promote this program to everybody we know and try and help recruit new operators, bring new people in, at least get them in the process so that they can be evaluated and see if it's something they want to do. And hopefully they can promote this on the national level as well. So I want to give a couple of updates, what's been going on with the committee. Last July, we appointed a secretary. He's with us today, Christopher Sabin. He takes really great minutes. The best compliment that I had received about Chris came from, many of you know who Tom Darren is, who Mott is. Mott called me in December after he had read the November minutes, and he said, "Frank, I want you to pass something along to Chris for me." He said, "I read through the minutes," and he said, "I felt like I was in the room." And
I appreciate that.
So Chris is doing a great job. Thank you, Chris. And we're hopeful that you'll be able to continue to do it. And Chris is really detail orientated, and you get a really good perspective of where everybody's coming from in the meeting, whether it's committee members or management. And he tries to capture everything that's said so that you do have that feeling and you get as much detail as he can put into the minutes. The other thing was in September, late September of last year, our new rules package went into place. There was one of the things that I believe the committee got as a pretty good success or a great success, however you want to look at it, is more time when necessary to file a grievance. It went from 45 days to 365 days, so 1 year. And I'm pretty good at writing grievances, and I will tell you that some that I have written, I was coming up on that 45-day deadline quickly because you're trying to dot every I and cross every T. So I think it's a good thing that we have more time. Hopefully it helps operators. Sometimes you also want to think something through as you're working on a grievance, and maybe by the time you think it through, you know what, never mind, or yeah, I really need to file this. So it provides a little bit more time, and hopefully that helps operators out in the end. The other thing is some of the big things the committee's been working on. We have some ongoing issues at the University of Cincinnati with, and I am hoping that there is a plan. Hopefully UC follows the plan. They've told us they were going to do things or told management they were going to do things in the past, and then there was no communication, I guess, or the legal teams weren't communicating or weren't meeting often enough or something, then operators would be told something different. So the committee's worked hard to try and help with that. The operators at UC have been awesome too in advocating for themselves as well. And so we needed everybody on that, because that was one situation, I have to be honest, I've never dealt with anything like that before. And I was trying to do what I could, but it was complicated. It did take way longer than it should have taken. I'm hopeful that as of today, the discounts will be turned off on the snack machines. That's what the plan was, so let's hope they hold true to that, and that the operators will be reimbursed for that by or before June 30th. I believe that's the plan, so that turned into quite a bit of a challenge for not only the operators, but the committee, and hopefully I'm not going to say it's going in the right direction. I'm to the point with this stuff with UC, I'll believe it when I see it, but I hope we are going to see it. The other big one is, for those who don't know, we were having issues at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base with AFIS, bringing machines, on campus, and I was on the blast call on Tuesday, and AFIS is doing this all over the country. It's not just Ohio. And they're going into these military bases and telling the commanders, they're going in with their own made-up fact sheet, going in saying they have the priority, they have first right of refusal. And the military base, the commanders, I guess they're busy, they're just, well, they're the Air Force Exchange Services, we're just going to accept what they say and not go check on it. Lauren McClarney, I believe, the attorney on Tuesday on the blast call, said that's not what the law says, and they're just making this stuff up when they go talk to the base commanders. So the other problem at Wright-Patterson is they're demanding back payment for utility payments. So they asked the committee in March, and I had to do this one over the phone because the March meeting had just happened, but talked to all the representatives, and everybody was in agreement that the agency had asked if the committee would support taking them to federal arbitration. And it was unanimous by all 7 representatives. So they got that filed. In the April meeting, in a follow-up to that, our SLA asked if we would allocate some money to hire outside counsel, because they didn't believe that they had they didn't have legal people with the right experience to litigate this arbitration at that level. And the committee did allocate money for that. So we are working on Wright-Patterson and trying to get this resolved. I always say that when Ohio leads, great things happen. So hopefully we can lead the nation in this and get a good ruling and help everybody else out in the country. And then I'm going to ask my vice chair, Madam Vice Chair Annette, did I miss anything? Anything else we need to highlight?
Maybe working on the ODOT agreement?
Yes. We have been working on the Bureau Grantor Agreement for the Ohio Department of Transportation for our rest areas. We've been going, and I will say, they've been, the agency and the committee, we've been going back and forth, but at least we're in conversation, we're talking to each other, we're working on it. We've had to give some, they've gave some, we're trying to get to where we need to be with it. I believe we are close, pretty close. And I'm hopeful that the committee and even the rest area operators will get another chance to review it, and then hopefully, if everything's cool, maybe the committee will be on board with it. We'll see where all that goes, and it's taken a little bit more time, I think, than everybody would like. But I will say, it's better to take the time, dot every I, cross every T, than get into something that everybody's miserable with. We don't want to do that. We want it to be right as we can get it. And I will be honest, nothing's ever going to be 100% perfect, but we have a responsibility to get it as good as we can. It is also the biggest Bureau Grantor agreement in the state. So whatever goes into that agreement, is my wholehearted belief, will be in other agreements. So we'll continue to work on it. And hopefully, I do believe we're going to have success, and pretty good success, I believe. We'll see what happens, but I don't want to jinx it either. So, cautiously optimistic, that's the term I'll use. So, there is a work group. I want to go back to March of 21. There's a work group I had the honor and privilege of leading, but it was loaded with talent, so it made it real easy. And that work group was the FRRP relief money, the federal relief money that went to the vendors. And then Chair Annette Lutz had asked me to lead that work group. And I was a little concerned at first. I said, man, Annette, when I get done with this, everybody may hate me. And she said, well, yeah, you know, if they hate you, they're going to hate the whole committee too, because we have to sign off on it. Like, well, yeah, that's true too. We started that work group in late March, like the 30th or 31st. We discussed what we were going to do or how we were going to do it. At first, we thought we had plenty of time, but I kind of pushed and said that, you know what, we've had operators out of work for working on 2 years now, over a year, and we need to speed this up. So we did something that I don't think anybody thought could be done. My goal was to have a proposal in front of the full committee by the April meeting, because we were meeting by phone. Our work group accomplished that goal. We did come up with a formula, we came up with it, we got it in front of the committee, and it was accepted by the committee, and everybody was working hard. And Annette had asked Christy the question, how long will it take you guys to approve the motion? And Christy answered that in real time in that meeting, that the motion was approved. So everybody was on the same page. I do want to give the SLA credit, our SLA credit. Some of that money could have been kept for administrative services. That did not happen in Ohio. Every penny went to operators, and that's where it should have went. Some programs around the country did do it. So I want to give you the names of the people who were in that work group, and they were Annette Lutz, Larry Gamflos, Curtis Joyner, Jim Lutz, and Amy Seeger. And I'd just like to recognize all of them for all the hard work and time and energy that went into that. They had one other success with that. It became the gold standard around the country. Once it was implemented and working here, a lot of states around the country were calling our program, calling Christy, going, how did you guys do this? So, and there's an example, what I was saying earlier, when Ohio leads, good things often happen, usually happen. So anyway, that was a great success, and I wanted to recognize all of those people. And hopefully I said Amy Seeger's name as well. Amy was a part of that work group as well.
You did.
Okay. I just didn't want to leave anybody out. Anyway, all right. Does any other committee members have anything they believe we need to highlight?
Mr. Chair.
Derek Dufard.
I think it would be great if all of us could show you the appreciation that you deserve for the great work that you've done this last year as the chair of the committee.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Frank.
Oh, thanks to all of you. It's an honor and privilege to do it. The same as serving as a Cincinnati representative. And none of us should take these opportunities in leadership lightly. Hey, we're not always perfect. We are human too. But the idea is to work hard, to advocate for the operators we represent, and to do everything we can to help them succeed. And I do everything I can as chair to help this committee succeed, and so does the vice chair, and so does every other member. So thanks to all of you. So at this point, I think it's time to open it up to an open forum where operators pick the topics, general questions and answers. And if we can answer it, we will try and answer it. If we don't have an answer, maybe we can work with our agency to get an answer or to find an answer. So at this point, we'll open it up for that and see if anybody has any question they would like to ask or any topic.
We have a hand in the back. Christy's coming with the microphone.
And then I know Lenny and Mike want to do their 50-50 raffle. Don't let them forget that.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get it done.
I just want to let the work group know, because we were talking about us getting into the private sector. Lancaster is getting ready to be put on the map. Google is putting a plant in Lancaster that's going to create anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 jobs in Lancaster, if that's something you guys would be interested in.
Yeah, I just want to bring up,
Okay. Who is that speaking?
Seth Ryan.
Seth Ryan, okay.
WLWT is reported last night that UC has bought multiple pizza vending machines from a local company to go on site by the start of the fall semester. I'm just wondering, is this news to everybody in the room?
It is.
It is.
Follow up on Monday.
I already told Christy about it this morning, Seth. I seen your email this morning. I did not see it last night.
It's about 1 o'clock in the morning when I sent it to you.
Yeah, I talked to, Annette and I talked to Christy because we said, if that's the case, we have a problem.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just,
I haven't seen anything about that opportunity, and that should have came to, and I don't believe OOD has either, because that would have came to Dave and I, and no, that's not something we would.
Josh, all the way in the back has a question.
Joshua French. This weekend we've heard a lot about opportunities outside of the state, but what about the opportunities that are being left on the table within our own state? This year there was a new lodge built at Hocking Hills, and we weren't able to get that for whatever reason. I have a site 5 minutes from there, literally on that property, and we did not get the 2 machines that are in that building. And I felt like that was a tragedy that we could have avoided. None of the lodges are being serviced by us, that the state operates. So I know it may be a private company, it may not be, we're not sure, but it is got the state's name on it, and I feel like there's opportunities within the state that we're still leaving on the table that we could go after.
And I'm gonna have to defer to Christy or Sally, and I know Sally's not here, because I honestly don't know anything about that.
So I know that Sally's had conversations with ODNR, and we will follow up. Part of those, they are subcontracted out, the companies that run the lodges, but that doesn't mean that it's still our priority, and we can go back to ODNR and say that you need to peel away those vending, and when, again, find out when those contracts are up. It's not, I don't think it's one contract for all the lodges, they're individual contracts, but we will follow up on that.
That's good to hear. We do need to follow up on it and find out what happened there. And we will be following up and figuring out what's going on with the University of Cincinnati as well. Anyone else?
Yeah, Dave Bergasso, Cincinnati alternate. Regarding UC, there's farmers' fridge machines that have been on campus operating for quite some time now. And at the last OVRC meeting, there was a motion that the Bureau research what they can do to have those machines removed. But the response to that was they're looking into what they can and can't do. But those machines being there through Aramark is a breach of the contract with UC and our priority. And I don't believe the Bureau is doing everything they can to advocate for the operators, and they're not fighting for our priority there. And that needs to change.
Farmer's Fridge, and I'm gonna give the name and number to Frank and Annette, to the lady, that they wanna contract with the individual operators like tomorrow, and get Aramark out of it, and that's what they've said.
And from what we were told last night, from what Annette and I understood last night from Nikki Gakos, was that, for what we understood, that Nikki's putting one in his post office, and he didn't hear any of the terms that, and I was even of the understanding that those were gonna be the terms at UC, but Christy said her understanding was those are not the terms at UC, that and she was gonna follow up with them next week and put it in writing and ask them to respond to reaffirm as what she believes the terms are, that there was no $2,400 limit, and that the contract would stay, where she was going with it is the contract should stay the same as it is right now with Aramark. It shouldn't change. So, Dave, did you have?
Yeah, I believe that anything with Aramark mixed up in it is not going to play out good for us. And it's a breach of the contract with UC to have those machines installed in the first place, but nobody has done anything about it. Trying to contract with us after the fact, I don't think that's the right answer. And yeah, we have this discrepancy of those exorbitant fees and the minimums and things like that, and now we have even more discrepancies based on what we heard yesterday. Like, this has been going on for some time and nobody has done anything about it. I don't think that's appropriate.
Just to follow up on the contractual obligations with Aramark and UC, or Aramark and Farmers Fridge, if they're refusing to give us the contract or show us the contract, how do we know that we have the same contractual obligations that Aramark has?
Sure, it's a great question. So Lindsay Collins emailed us, and we sent that on to you guys last week, that there's two types of contracts that Farmers Fridge does. One is just a statement of work where there's no obligation at all, no monetary obligation that there's any minimum. And that is currently what Farmers Fridge has. And that's currently what they would do for you guys. There's no risk at all. If it ever became a situation where they wanted that minimum, they would have to get into a new contract with you, which again, I think at that point we would say that that's not something we're interested in doing. Right now, there's no, and she put that in plain bold, it's just a statement of work. And I think we heard yesterday that Nikki said too, that Farmers Fridge is, that they're going to places where they're making money. And so, again, I think that we would, ultimately it's up to the individual operators, but we would be very concerned about you guys getting into contracts that would obligate you a minimum. But she's made it very clear that these are not, it's a statement of work. It is not a subsidy contract. Yeah, it was sent earlier this week, and I'll make sure that it's forwarded to you. Yep.
Chrissy, do you guys have it and they didn't have it yet, or they don't have it yet? Is that what the?
Yeah, I will, when I go home today, I don't have my computer with me, I will send it.
Okay. Yeah, they need to see, need to see it.
Yep.
In fact, if you can, send it to the UC operators, also send it to the full committee.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we'll read it, we'll look into it, and we'll see where the operators want to go and how they want to proceed. And I will tell you, I was on a lot, I wasn't on the whole call, but I was on the majority of that call, and I kind of understood it the way they did, or at least, unless it was just, I will just tell, okay, I'm just going to say it like this, from a sales representative perspective, I thought she did a lousy presentation, I'm sorry. Usually when you're a sales rep for a particular brand, you're promoting your brand, you want somebody to use your brand, you're not on there talking about we can't lose money and things like that. Well, none of us want to lose money, but sometimes a business does lose money. Anyway. All right. Anyone else?
There's one in the back there, Christy.
My mom had a saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it. She had a Philco refrigerator that lasted 34 years, no repairs. My machines at my rest area, yes, they're not your favorites, but the truck drivers like them. I have 6 machines that never in the 5 years I've been there had a repair. And I'm asking you to keep this into consideration so that we don't go too crazy the other way. If it is older, sometimes they're the better ones. Just like old people.
Was that Yvette speaking? Was that Yvette?
Julie Russell.
Oh, Julie Russell.
So this is Greg, and you know, we understand, and that's why part of this process will be working with your consultants, looking at your machines, age of the machine, is there parts available, how often their service calls. So it's not all of everybody's machines are going away. What works best for each individual place. So we will have discussions on that, and there'll be a back and forth with your consultant.
I need to too. I also suggest maybe in some of those older looking machines, maybe just a refacing. Would that be something that we can do just to freshen up our locations?
Great.
You know?
And who was that speaking?
Yvette Shine.
Oh, was.
Oh, I'm sorry. You all know me, big
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Gary.
I think.
Hey, Frank, it's Jeff Toll. Listen, I'm sitting here listening to this, and I've got machines that are, over 10 years old, and they do function quite well, as Julie was referring to. They could use a facelift, but I was doing some quick math, and this $4 million represents over 650 new machines if you average out the cost of a new vending machine. And I do want to be careful, as Greg talking about evaluating these things, that we don't squander this money when we could maybe for a fraction of that cost, with vinyl and other things do refacing. I'm heartbroken that some of the machines all of us who have been in this program 20 plus years have worked with are in fact going to go out of existence. It's not our fault, it's not the Bureau's fault. These companies consolidate, they quit manufacturing the replacement parts. Bob Garrett was having a conversation with us yesterday, several of us about this, and it's just a fact of life. I don't want rid of my coffee machine, but I recognize that it no longer is viable because of a parts issue. A lot of us love AP equipment, automatic products. We bought them for 30 years, but unfortunately the company no longer exists, and Crane National doesn't want to produce parts for them, so we are going to have to, as painful as it is, replace some of these. But I will tell you, as she said too, Julie, the newer equipment for the Bureau's information, they are using plastic where they used to use metal. These machines do not hold up as well. It does concern me that we do everything we can to preserve what actually works. And if we can make it look nice and shiny and new, and the customers come in and like it, wonderful. But unfortunately for some of us, we are going to have to get over some of our prejudices about, I don't want that new stuff. I don't either, but it is coming. So let's try to do this together and do some common sense things to save where we can, but invest where we have to. Thank you.
Bear with me just a minute, everybody. We had a committee member ask before Derek.
Oh, well, Jeff, as usual, stole my thunder, so. No, I just did want to say that the points everybody's raising about how we're going to utilize this infusion of funds, I think it's important that we involve as many people as possible in discussions about how we want to prioritize our needs and our desires and everything, and not just go in and automatically replace everything. We need to develop some guidelines as to how we want to prioritize a plan to do all of these things.
Can I respond?
Yep.
Absolutely, and we've always thought that through, and that the individual operators are going to have a say. The committee, we're going to go to the committee. This is a huge logistical thing that we're going to do, and it's over a 2-year period. And again, we've got so many considerations and so many moving parts. The other thing that we're looking into, again, based off, we need to make sure that we are RSA compliant. So these machines will be purchased with credit card readers. We're looking into purchasing these machines and whether we can or not, we gotta research. Maybe we order locks with these new machines. So again, we need to talk to each individual operator. It's not going to be a, out of the gate, a massive buying spree. It's gotta be very thoughtful. And again, it's over a 2-year period. And I'm telling you right now, we're not doing anything probably until October 1. The other thing that I want everyone to be clear about is if a machine doesn't meet the threshold or doesn't meet what the criteria is, and a machine or piece of equipment goes down, that doesn't mean we can't replace it. It just, that's when we were gonna use our service charge. So I want that, I don't want anyone, I don't want the rumors out there that, someone comes here and says, well, my consultant says it's not on the the replacement list, so I can't get this and my machine's been down. That's not the case. So.
Mr. Chair.
Here.
Quick follow-up question. I've heard some discussion about beginning again to brand our machines, OD branding and BEP branding. Are we going to start doing that again?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Again, I think Greg can talk about how legislatures have come up to.
Yeah, we've had, when the director's been down for testimony and he meets with the committee members individually before his testimony, and a couple of them have, excuse me, have noted and seen like, oh, so you guys are the vending machines at the bottom of the State House, or on my travel back to my district, I stop at the rest areas, and so there was a lot of recognition. I know Johnny Mack's probably been at the State House more in the last couple of months than he has in the last couple of years, with everybody down there and busy and using those machines. So people do notice, and it's been nice that they've made a connection with our agency and with Director Miller, and it's like, oh, one more thing that they appreciate, that we do a good job for everybody.
Yes, this is Curtis Joyner. Yeah, I'm listening to this, and this all sounds fine and dandy. It's nice to hear that the Powerball might be up to $1 billion. And people always ask, if you hit it, what you gonna do with that money? We got all these great ideas, but I like the way Greg responded that this is only a proposal. That don't necessarily mean that this is going to pass, but we already figured out how we spend the money. So we don't want to get into all this foreplay, because if it don't happen, what is the plan? What are we going to do about equipment? How are we going to upgrade facilities? Where are we going to be at? So I don't want people to get their hopes up, and that may not be the case, because already it has started, because some people are ill, because we got consultants asking people how many machines you need replaced at your facility, and they think they getting new machines, and this proposal hadn't even been passed. So when I heard that, I'm like, oh hell, they didn't ask me about my machines. Why your consultant asking you about new machines? I've been there 10 years and they didn't touch my equipment. So don't get your hopes up high. We have to wait till this move forward, but we talking about it like this is a done deal. Refacing and new machines, it sounds good. Lottery sounds good too. Yeah, I play a ticket. But the hell, if I don't win, I'm back to, let me manage my little money that I'm getting in. Do the best with what I have right now. So that's what I wanted to make clear, because we spend the money we don't even have in this room, and people getting their hopes up, and that may not be the case. The other thing, and I have to be honest, ever since I came into this program as a trainer, I've had this chip on my shoulder that haven't went away. Because once I became a licensed, the thing is, I have a family. At that time, I was a stay-at-home dad. I was not employed. And I looked forward to coming into this BEP program because of all the wonderful things that I heard and all the opportunities. But hell, I was up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, studying online, getting all that knowledge in. Doing those quizzes at the end, turning into my assignments. I had Judy Post as a trainer, and I'm like, damn, I gotta get this done. You know, so it took me about eight months to go through the training for what? Because hell, it took me a year to get a job. You know, and my wife excited, like I done got up, all excited, the family, it's gonna be better. It's hurry up and wait. So now when I hear everybody talking about growing the program, the awareness, we gotta create opportunities. And just being in the program, we talk the talk, but we don't necessarily walk the walk, you know. And I'm looking at opportunities since I came in the program. Yes, we have you guys have done an amazing job of creating opportunities, but we lost some as well. But it's still not helping the new licensees that's hurrying up, passing these, getting licenses just to wait. And the other thing is, I heard somebody say 18 sites being tempted. This is not temporarily. Some of these people have been temping for a year, 2 years. That's ridiculous. And we got people sitting by waiting, trainees. And the thing is, what I heard, we need experienced operators to go in there and tempt that. To me, that's BS, because when they put me to work, they sent me to Akron to a cafeteria that I never ran. And every new person that go into a facility, when do you get your experience? You get it on the job. So don't tell me we gotta put somebody over there to tempt while somebody wait. It's not gonna change the fact when that person did on it and get that location, it's trial and error. The consultant go in there and work with them. You have any problems, we'll work it out. Why are we temping 18 facilities out for over a year, 2 years, colleges? It's crazy. And people sitting by just waiting for opportunities. So that's something that we need to look at, because we pad in other people's pockets while other people suffering. So for me, I think back then, before I got a position, I talked to one of the Cleveland operators, and he said, Curtis, well, we got some attachments. Would you be interested? I said, hell yeah, that's more than what I got now. Give me 4 machines. Let me do something. Give me a little bit of experience. But we so fixed on, is that a viable location? It got to be making 60 or 70,000 before we can actually put somebody there. Give a licensee 6 machines, try them out, let them get some experience before you give them 30 or 40 at a college. So that's just something for us to think about. And I still had that chip, because when I look at everybody talking about training, and we get people pass, license, to wait for what? And how long are they gonna wait? We got people already in the program that lost their job or will lose a facility, but we got 18 temp facilities that we not putting up for bid, and it's ridiculous.
Christie, is that 18 facilities or some of those site attachments?
Yes, some of
Okay.
them, but I think the committee,
We're-
and we need to look at those. I think, you know, again.
So some of them are facilities, some of them are site attachments that are being counted as facilities.
Correct.
Okay, so I want to hit something real quick. There's been, over the past few days, or this week, been a lot of noise made by an operator in Akron, and I'm gonna hit this and touch on this real quick, that, you know, these sites have been temped for a while. A lot of those sites, I don't know about all of them, but a lot of those sites ended up becoming temps because they were posted and no one applied for them. And the program didn't want to lose them, so we asked someone to tempt them. There is also a plan up in the Akron area, and that plan is, once the University of Akron is posted and awarded, they're gonna try and reconfigure, maybe try and look at reconfiguring some of those facilities up there and using a lot of those sites to create a new route up there, which will be a new job. So it's not that they were just being held indefinitely, and I can tell you, I was on a call with Kelsey, I believe Sally was on that call, and the representative and alternate for Akron were on that call, and the alternate who's temping a lot of those sites said, look, I don't need to keep all of this stuff. I'm not trying to keep it. He said, the only reason I'm doing it is so that the program doesn't lose it. And I'm hopeful we can take a lot of this stuff, put it together, and create a job for somebody, for another blind person. So, and all I'm trying to do here is separate, make sure that the facts are out there on both sides. And, and I get it, Curtis, about coming out of training. Hey, I had to wait too. I tried to apply for everything in Cincinnati, but I was the new guy on the block. I wasn't going to get it. Everybody else had more points. And back then we actually did an interview. And, when I'm asked a question in an interview, I just answer the question directly. And the advice I kept getting from people was just keep talking, keep talking. You'll find the answer eventually. Well, I don't normally operate like that, but I had to move to Akron, Canton to get my first facility, and it took a little while. But I learned a lot doing it.
So Frank, I got two people that want to.
Yeah. I want to, go ahead. Let's hit those two people, and then I want to do,
This is Yvette Shackelford. I remember to say my name this time. Anyway, I wanted to say, first of all, is there a work group started already for the monies that we're looking at for buying new equipment? If it, I just want to give I want to be on it. And then the other thing is, I do think if we post something, after a while, we do need to repost it.
Yes.
Because I kind of agree with Curtis on that, I know maybe immediately people, and I'm not speaking about no one facility or because, John's been doing a great job with trying to hold on this stuff, but I do think that we lose track of that and we need to go back and look at that sometime. After so many months, let's repost it and see what we get. And I mean, that doesn't hurt,
and we're going to have, and Annette has asked for this, the site attachment situation to be on the May agenda. And we are going to need to talk about it because as she replied to that email that was going back and forth and said, yeah, it's apparently an issue in Akron. Eventually it's going to become an issue in Columbus, and the committee needs to have, at minimum, and maybe even more, a general discussion about it and see where we want to go and how we want to deal with all of this.
Mr. Chair, this is John Decker, Giorgio. I just want to say that in the last 2-3 months in Columbus, we've had 2 facilities post. The first one, only one person bid on it. The second one, no one bid on it. We had to repost it. So, I agree. I don't like temps either, and I, for the record, I am temping stuff. But we also need to have the facilities. So, and if people aren't going to do them, then we need to temp them.
And Mr. Chair, I want to remind everyone with the new rules, it used to be facilities had to post for 21 days, but site attachments did not, and now both have to post for 21 days. So if we're going to repost, that's another 21 days. And again, I thought we were all like, oh, that's a great idea, and now maybe questioning that, but.
No.
Johnny Mac, do you have something?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
I just want to give context to the numbers we're talking about, what I'm actually temping. Wooster last month did $900 total for 7 machines. Corville did $300 for 4 machines. Mansfield did $2,600 for the month for 13 machines. And these are spread miles apart. Akron, Canton together with about 10 locations did $5,000. Salem did $200 for the last part of the month, or the month of April. So I'm not getting rich off these temps. And I just want the numbers to be out there with what we're talking about.
Yeah, John.
Mr. Chair?
Larry.
Hey, there's a couple new buildings that just came out that an operator gave up in the Akron, Canton area, and there may be potential to build a new job. And Curtis, I got a chip on my shoulder when I hear somebody can drive around and service their own machines, which is really cool for you. But then other people have to pay for storage and a driver and a van. And to work with that little numbers, you would be setting somebody up to fail. And, but if any new operator would reach out to their local OVRC or management and just request what they're willing to do and put that out there. So I've heard new operators just saying, yeah, I want some work, but I just want to do a rest area. And it all can't be, easy stuff. Sometimes, and then it can be too hard. Everything is got to look at everything individually, not overall. That was all.
Yeah, I will say that, and Christy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe, I don't know if it's Christy or Sally or one or both, we're maybe trying to recruit someone to temp something, maybe a new licensee, and they were told, well, nope, I'm waiting for my dream job. I'm not doing any of that. Well,
good luck.
Yeah, so anyway, and I don't know who did that, but, yeah. So I want to do something before we forget it, and we'll take we probably take maybe 3 to 5 minutes to do it, and then we'll just come right back to doing the question and answers. Lenny Johnson and I think Mike Osborne, if we want to do the 50-50 raffle, I know a lot of people are waiting for that. So. I just didn't want to forget it. I got shot.
I know. Watch that cord. I hate these kids.
I know.
All right, you're gonna have $315 for the winner. Have for me, guys.
Yep, we need a volunteer to pull the ticket.
I could do it.
You the man?
Okay.
There goes it in final one.
If he pulls his own, is there a problem?
Actually, I
Go ahead. Can you read it?
Sure, I'm not able to read it either. We gotta find somebody to read the ticket.
I got it.
I'll read it for you.
So I just only read the last 4 digits?
Yeah, the last 4 is good.
That's 4063.
What's the last 4 digits?
Last 4 digits.
Last 4 digits.
Last 4 digits.
And Augie's got the money.
4063.
I gotta check mine. 4063.
Okay.
4063. Better check mine.
If they went home, we'll have to redraw.
Had to redraw?
Everybody should be here. If somebody else needs help, just holler. Somebody will come and help you.
Yep. If anybody didn't hear 4063, for some reason the microphone stopped working. I got turned off.
Here, we can use.
We want to use that one? You got a
Yeah,
wire?
you can use the handheld. Here you go.
It's on my list. I think
It's back on.
Oh, okay.
It got turned off.
All right. Yeah, just want to.
There's a little button that.
Gotcha. Oh, sorry.
No winner?
Man, if they have to redraw, I threw my tickets away.
Dave?
Kidding, right?
I think we have a winner, we're not sure. Do we have a winner yet?
Well, no.
What does he need? I thought it was 4063.
pass it out to everybody. Give everybody $2.
What happened?
All right, grab another ticket out.
Grab another ticket, okay.
If you would,
Do it one more
So we
time.
will.
reach in there and grab it.
064, I thought I had.
Give it, yeah.
It'd be nice if they were Braille.
All right, new number coming out. 313564. That's mine.
What's the last four?
3564.
3564. Yeah.
3564.
Well, I think we got a winner.
Yep.
3564.
Well, where's the ticket?
It was laying right there on the table. You grabbed it. I mean, the other.
Did I grab one? Are they in a group?
Yeah, they were in a group. Oh, you didn't put them in there, did you?
I don't know. They were in a group.
Draw another one. Draw another one.
Draw another one? Okay.
Could be another one. Oh, that's the 20th. I know that.
Yeah, I threw one up here and said investigation. So I had memorized the name. So I'm going to
Make sure they in my pocket or something. That's nuts.
Unless somebody's got them tickets right here.
All right, we're going to do it again.
We're going to do it
Okay.
one more time.
He got it.
Okay.
Oh, no. Here we go. All right, last one. Here we go.
We got it.
4044. Yeah, we don't look for the other one. That was mine, but I lost the ticket. We're doing another one.
4044, is that right?
Yeah, the 3564 was my number, but the ticket's been misplaced, so we're just gonna go ahead and call another number.
What is that number? 4044?
4044.
4044. 4044, everybody. My goodness.
Can't be this hard. It didn't take this long. I'm sorry. Take your
Oh, that's all right. We'll get through it.
I want the money.
We don't know yet.
Who won?
Hey, can someone look at these?
Okay.
I can't read it. Reset it.
Hey, Lenny. You some check over here? 044. Hey, can I get someone to check these?
There's choices.
Oh, you gave it to me. Oh, that's it. Thank you. Take it to David. David. Hold up. Check this out.
All right, we have a winner. Dave Fergassa.
Hey, guys.
All right. No, I don't think so.
Just charge them.
All right. Yeah, thank you guys.
job. He's gonna be in charge from now on.
Oh. Thanks, Lenny and Ozzy. That's a great thing, and we appreciate it. So we're going to go back and open it up for general questions and answers. I don't know if I have a lot of people out in the hallway, but hopefully they can hear this anyway. I do want to recognize one other work group and give them the recognition that they deserve, and that is our statewide work group, which was being led by John Giorgio. And John and his team. And John, do you want to rattle off who all was on your work group? I'm afraid if I start naming names, I'm going to forget somebody, and I don't want to do that.
No, we need to. Cynthia was on there.
Hey, Frank.
Yeah.
Hey, before everyone leaves, there is some construction out there. There might be issues with people being picked up. They blocked off part of 3rd Street.
And State.
Okay. So there might be some issues, and I wish I had a solution for it, but I don't.
But anyway, it was John Giorgio, Cynthia Lee, Annette Lutz, Derek Newfarth, and
Scott Allen was on it for a while.
Scott Allen was on there for a while. And am I forgetting anybody?
Well, you were on there for a while too.
Well, I was on there off and on as the committee chair, just observing. If I had a question or a suggestion, I would make it, but it was ultimately up to that group. But they did a great job, and I'd like to recognize all of them and give all of them a hand. And Lynn Huswick was on there too, that's correct. I knew I'd forget somebody.
Yeah, it's my understanding from Cynthia that the valet parking is part of, she will pay that as part of the bill. So that should be taken care of. So when you check out, just need to tell them that this is part of the bill that OOD is picking up.
Okay. Hopefully that helps with all of that. All right. Anyone else with questions or comments this morning?
Mr. Chair.
Keith.
I'd just like to ask if, on the next year's committee, if you guys could ask some new people that has not participated to be a part of.
All of different groups.
Okay.
For experience.
For a minute there, I thought you were asking if we could add new people to the OVRC committee. I was going to say, no, those people have to be elected. I can't do that. But, no, yeah, we can work on that. We'll see what happens and go from there. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I would like to know if this branding is going to start back up again. Is the committee going to have some input? Because the last branding was nothing but a big giant OV hallway or whatever. It was very little to do with media, nothing. It was all about OV. So since the money was spent on bringing those, hopefully we would have some input on what the branding actually is.
This is Greg. There we go. You know, we have a design that we worked out, and we can share it. And if you guys have input, we can take that back to our comms team that does those designs. If you have some ideas or some things that we can consider.
Can you describe it, what it is now?
So right now, it's very basic. It says opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities. It does say the Business Enterprise Program. So that's the skinning of the machines. In addition to the skinning of the machines, we are looking at doing some more signage. And yes, we're going to get input from the committee on that, on the Business Enterprise Program. I will tell you, like the Department of Health a couple months ago wanted a flyer to send to their employees about the BE program, who it benefits. I can share that as well. I wanted it to be very operator-centered, not OD-centered, operator-centered. Who does this business, who runs this business? Because again, I think that there's education out there where people do not know who's running these businesses. And I think that that's important that we get that out there.
All right, we'll need to take a look at it and see if the committee has feedback or suggestions, and see where we can go with it or what we can do with it. Anything else? I think we lost a lot of people out in the hallway, so. Anyone else with questions or answers or a topic they would like to discuss?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Annette.
I hear from operators, we do money for scanning these machines, we spend that, we put up signage, and then the program has gotten bad at maintaining it. I had an operator tell me that we paid to put a sign, the sign didn't stay up, and it's been sitting on the floor of a facility for a long time now. Skin machines, the skinning starts coming off and not being refaced. So if we're going to invest in branding and trying to make the machines look nice, we should make them keep looking nice, keep the signs looking nice, because it's just a waste of money if they're just gonna look as crappy as they did without the stuff on them.
This is great. Oh, sorry, were you done, Annette? I couldn't see.
Am now, yep.
Okay, so we 100% agree. You know, the last 3 years, it's been all about preserving funding in the program. We're going to have some funds that we can invest, and we want to keep things looking nice. That's why we're doing new signage. The other piece is with the new signage, when we were looking at materials, I approved the highest quality and the more expensive stuff because we do want it to last and we do want it to look professional. So keeping that in mind, making sure that we're using stuff and it doesn't look like you know, I made it at home and drove over and hung it up in your shop in Lima there, Annette. So 100% agree with your comment and how we need to focus on that in the future too.
What facility has a sign on the door? I'll take care of that.
Me.
You?
Yeah, and I've got machines, I got 2 different designs of skin machines. Half the machines have no skin.
Okay.
Yep, that's some of the other stuff that we're going to be talking about too. Continuity and conformity.
In a building where the legislature.
Yep.
You know, the original signs were just put up with like the sticky back tape type stuff.
Yeah, again, I think those signs, and I refer to them as the 11th grade science project signs, and we are upgrading those.
All right. Anything else on signage? Okay.
My ongoing question about this branding is it going to be forced on operators since I heard continuity, or is this going to be operator choice? As it should be.
So we are going to be branding the machines. We will get input and feedback from the committee on what the branding should look like. But yes, machines are going to be branded, and we're going to try and get as much continuity and conformity as we can with those.
Also, Greg, question on that refacing some of these machines. How would you all determine which sites get the refacing? Because I'm sure you're not going to do every location.
So again, that'll be the consultants when they talk to you about your facilities and your machines and what we need to do and what they look like. Again, you know, if some have the blue branding and some have the red and the blue still looks okay, the blue and the red, you know, it's fine. If something's faded and old, we need to have that discussion about updating the skinning. So again, this will be, you know, with each of you and your consultant looking at what you've got and what's still in good shape and what do we need to look at, whether it's the machines being replaced or an update on the face of it.
Go ahead, Dave.
Mr. Chair, this doesn't sound like there was any max participation whatsoever. This sounds like something that's just being dictated. Money's being used to put on the machines, but there was no input from anyone whether it should be.
Well, we should probably talk about it at our next meeting and have that discussion and go from there, talk about it. It looks like agenda items keep coming for the meeting. So,
I guess we're not canceling.
Well, it's important that everybody understands how active participation is supposed to work, and this isn't it.
I just said.
So, Frank, I think we can have this conversation about branding going forward, but the branding and skinning of machines for the replacement machines, this is that one-time replacement machine that's not service charge. But we can absolutely have conversations about branding.
Yeah, who did I hear?
Seth Ryan. On the rebranding, are we going to waste money? Like some of mine are in banks where why brand something that's between two other machines? Are we going to spend wisely and not just rebrand everything? Only rebrand the ones on the end if needed?
Yeah, again, I think it's larger conversations. We're not gonna brand machines that go into an ODOT garage. We're not gonna go into an existing, when we're talking about branding machines, I'm thinking of brand new machines that we're bringing in. So as we're phasing in new machines, those will be branded. We're not gonna go and just brand every single machine in the program. That would be a lot of machines, and we're not doing that.
I understand, but as most people, the easiest way to do a facelift on these machines is to put a branded sticker on it that covers the terrible paint job. So, just wondering how you're gonna do that. Is the branding going to go through and we're just gonna look at everything and go, that one needs rebranded and this one doesn't, or is it gonna be a case by case when we need a new machine?
I think it's gonna be more case by case. But we can talk to the committee and talk to the individual operator on that.
All right. Any other questions? Going once, going twice, going for the third and final time. I don't know if I have enough committee members in here to get a motion to adjourn or not. But,
Are we gonna take a break today?
huh?
Are we gonna take a break?
We're gonna adjourn.
We're gonna adjourn.
Well, I'm not hearing any, I just asked Derek if there was any other questions or any other topics anybody wanted to discuss. And
I move to adjourn.
I already did that.
You made it a point earlier that we have longer time to file grievances now. Were you telling everybody to file more grievances?
no, I was just letting them know that the rule had changed or been updated.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
You ignore my motion.
Yeah. So do we have a motion? I think Annette seconded it, or?
Dave.
Something to get it done.
So did I.
Okay, well, so John made it, Annette seconded, Chris.
Okay, great.
And do we have a vote?
Yeah.
Okay.
Passed unanimously?
We're done.
Okay, we're done.
So, all right, thank you everybody for coming, we appreciate it. Have a great rest of your
You too.
weekend.